Well, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whatever your current life situation is. Hello, YouTube. This is Jeffrey Kite back again with another episode of Kite's Curiosities. Going to do a comic book review of a mini series that I was able to find in the dollar bins at a local comic book shop that I go and frequent a lot of times. I found this back last year and just now got around to reading it, and it is called The Royals, Masters of War. This dates back to around 2013, 2014, written by Rob Williams with art by Simon Colby. The premise of this series is, what if World War II took place and all of the royal families of the world had superpowers, like the Emperor of Japan, the Tsar of Russia, the prince and princesses of England, all of those things. The Germans. What if they're royals? They're old school royals. The families left in that bloodline. What if they had powers? And if they had their powers, what would happen if they intervened in a worldwide war? So that's what the story premise is. And to me, this series is full of action, adventure, kind of, it's pretty suspenseful. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good read. And it's basically about this guy right here, Prince Henry, who is the Prince of England. He's not next in line, but he's got a brother named Arthur that's next in line to be king, but his dad is still alive and his brother's still alive, and he's kind of, I guess he'd be the Prince Andrew of the story there. And then he's got a sister named Rose. She has like psychic mind powers and things. He's kind of like a Superman type character. And basically, they get roped into the world war that is going on between the European powers in Germany and Japan. Italy is not part of this, just Japan and Germany. So that's what you got going on here. But here's Arthur right here. As you can tell, Arthur and his brother, they have a little sibling rivalry right there. So that is explored in the series, and has a profound impact on the story. Well, to leave it like that. Don't want to have any spoilers for anybody in case anybody wants to read this in the future. Just camera just a little bit. There we go. Like I said, I enjoyed it. A lot of what ifs, from a perspective, from my reading perspective, it left open the question of, personal responsibility. We all know what responsibility is. I got to be responsible for things. I'm in charge of things. I've taken an oath. I've agreed to do or agreed not to do certain things. So we all have those responsibility traits. But what about the thought of you having a responsibility that affects a whole bunch of people? Like your actions, you're responsible for your own actions, but your actions you have a responsibility, a duty almost, and you owe it to certain people to do things or not do things, avoid certain things, or become involved in certain things when the time is right, or when the time is supposed to happen with something. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, but kind of like in the world of education, those students that I teach, they have a responsibility to do well on their end of the year test that we got coming up, because that shows how much they learned, and it's also a reflection on the teacher. It's a reflection on the parents and that family who invest so much time, effort, and energy into preparing them for the world of tomorrow, for their future. So they owe it to us. It is a responsibility for them to do well on those end of the year tests. And so taking that mindset, and also from a Christian worldview perspective, we have a responsibility to behave and conduct ourselves accordingly, because if not, it will affect a whole bunch of people, and has the potential to affect a wider, greater audience, for the good and for the bad. So I thought about that when I read through this story. Now, this story on Goodreads, it only gets a 3.28 out of here, because a lot of people didn't like the ending. They thought the ending was stupid and underwhelming and just kind of didn't fit what they thought should be. Personally, those who criticize the ending of this story, I think, are just kind of asking too much. Now, this story does leave a lot open. They rush through a lot of different things, and some subplots are not fully explained, and the story moves along pretty quick. This is a quick read. You could, if you got this in trade paperback form, you could probably finish it in an afternoon. So the story does move quick. It does leave a lot left open, and kind of question some things. Well, I wonder what happened with this character, or what would have happened if this had happened, and different little things. So I agree with the criticisms on that. The artwork is absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. In fact, let's take a moment right here and explore some of this artwork. So this is from book one. This is kind of the opening splash page of book one. Look at all the action going on in that. I just love it. All those planes. It's nice. And this is also a nice little splash page from book one. Look at that. Just like he's flying down with that squadron of planes. It's just, man, I like that. And the blazing sun behind him in that background. Gorgeous, gorgeous piece. And here's a big old nice splash page at the end of book two. It's too late. Look at that quote at the top. And I mean, just all these Japanese kamikaze pilots and the dive bombs, and just, man. Here's book three. Opening splash page of that, with Henry and Arthur going into battle. And the big explosion right here, a big cataclysmic event that happens here. Just don't want to give away any part of the story, but just look at that. Two ships colliding, huge explosion, just, I mean, all the colors and the brilliance. It really captures the horrors of war, and just how destructive war really can be. Book 5 has this page right here. Again, the two brothers flying into battle. And here's Henry again amidst a whole plethora of bombs there. Little Nazi bombs dropping. Looks like he's caught in a crossfire. And he's saying, please, please. And then finally, the opening splash page of book 6. And if you take a closer look right there, the name of that plane, right there, the name of it, says the Enola Gay, which gives you a premonition of what's to come at the end. Overall, I thought it was a pretty decent book series. I enjoyed reading it. Like I said, the story moves kind of quick, which I like in some parts. Other parts, it's like the characters should have been explored a little more, but for what it was worth, what I paid for it, $1 a book for $6, I thought it was pretty good. One subplot in there that I didn't particularly care for, and you'll know it as you read it, and if you've already read it, you can probably guess what it was. I didn't like one of the love interest stories. It was creepy, it was gross, but I can see why the author went in that direction, but at the same time, it was like, I wouldn't have gone that far, but it's neither here nor there now of a book that's 12 years old now. I encourage you to read it, give it a shot. Don't expect too much because there's not a lot there, but if you just want a good cheap read, a good cheap story with some fantastic art, The Royals, Masters of War, that's a book for you. Check it out. You can get it in trade paperback or in those 6 single issues that I showed you. So tell me what you think down in the comments. Have you read this story? What'd you think of it? Was it kind of weird, but kind of decent, okay, with a little bit of weirdness? Did you hate it? Some people hated the ending. They said it was just crap. And some people liked the ending. They liked how the story finished up. So y'all tell me. As always, folks, like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Till next time, y'all take care now. Have a good one.